Okay, we are recording. Hey guys, so this is Kim Carver.
What's up?
I call him my Beachbody father. He's yeah, you didn't know that, but I do.
I did not know that.
He's watched me grow up in Beachbody for 4 years, so that's kind of why I call you them. And he is the go-to man that I run to when I need motivation and support. So I wanted to bring that same motivation to you guys with this short but awesome call. So I'm going to let him take it away because he's got to jump off.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys all jumping on. I'm grateful for the chance to be here and spend a few minutes with you here. It was interesting when I was talking to Kaylee. I was like, so what are we going to talk about? She goes, let's give him something motivational, which is like this very general topic, right? And so as I was thinking more about it, a couple things came to mind that I feel kind of knowing kind of where the team's at a little bit and knowing where the seasonality of the business is at right now. Something that hopefully some things that I think will be relevant and actionable for you. It's interesting. There's sometimes when you get these motivational, you want to motivate, and they kind of take the drill sergeant approach of kind of yelling and come on, rah, rah, rah. And honestly, I think that has a place sometimes. But I typically don't go that way because I don't think that it lasts. I don't think that it sticks. And what I'm more interested in teaching coaches, and what I try to work with Kaylee on and other coaches that will reach out to me from time to time about this, is to understand what motivation is and then how to keep yourself in that zone as much as possible, and how to get yourself back in that zone. And that's what I want to talk through. My experience has been, it just comes through some awareness of things and understanding a few points. I want to start off saying though right away at the beginning, when we talk about motivation, and if you're listening to me and you're kind of feeling stuck and you're kind of feeling frustrated and you're kind of feeling this and you're kind of feeling like you're lacking enthusiasm for coaching and you're lacking enthusiasm for this, I want you to know that's unrealistic to be motivated 110% all the time. I've never met anyone that's like that, okay? I've met people who try to act that way, but I've never met some people who actually feel that way all the time. And so it's natural to have ebbs and flows in your motivation. But what we want to do, though, as entrepreneurs, is we are the ones that are kind of leading our business. We're the ones that we have to embrace the fact that it's our choices, the power that we have. Our choices are what dictate the outcomes for our business. We have to take that control back, okay? And so part of that is understanding really what motivation is. I want to break it down to 5 points, okay? And I want to talk about a few things related to them. The first point, okay, this is kind of my secret not a secret. It's when I'm talking to coaches and they're saying, man, I'm kind of stuck. I'm feeling like I'm in this lull. I can't get going. These are the 5 points my brain kind of reference, because usually it's 1 or 2 or 3 of these points that's causing them to get stuck. The first point, I've got them written down right here so I don't ramble, right? When the cost of not doing something is higher than the cost of doing the work, you feel motivated. Okay, when the cost of not doing something is greater than the cost of actually doing the work, motivation is present. You guys can think of examples like that in your life, I'm sure, right? People all the time, they're motivated to get up and go to jobs they hate every single day because the cost of not going to work, not being able to pay the bills, not being able to cover the mortgage, not being able to feed their family, not being able to feed themselves, not being able to do all those kind of things is greater than the cost of actually going to work and doing the job that they need to do. So a very fundamental level, sometimes as coaches, we have to be cognizant of that. This is different than being an employee. As a business owner, that cost of not doing something, that really, you get to decide that. You wake up every single day and that it's in your hands to engage or not. And if I'm not engaging, maybe what I'm doing is I'm not understanding really what the cost of me not doing that happens to be. Second point. Motivation comes when there is a meaningful reason in your mind for doing it. In other words, the work you're doing has a purpose. Sometimes I'll find coaches that are lack of motivation because they're just kind of going through the motions. One of the things that gets difficult for entrepreneurs is mastering the mundane. Typically, entrepreneurs, people who are kind of running their own business, they kind of like that edge. They kind of like that excitement. And in the beginning, when everything's new with their business, everything's new and everything's exciting. But at some point, it's not new anymore. And they forget that the purpose of their business is not to entertain them. The purpose of their business is to satisfy needs of customers, to help other people learn how to do that. And there's an amazing purpose behind that. We can't get bored with the mundane, meaning the regular, reoccurring, consistent actions that need to come to make that happen. And part of the way that we do that is remembering the purpose behind the work that we do. Okay, letting that purpose fill us, letting that understanding that the next person that we talk to, it might be a life-changing experience for them. Letting them know the next person that we help, it's impacting generations of people. Will it happen with every person? Probably not. But it will happen with some. And the sum that we reach is worth the work to go through the many, if that makes sense to you. Okay, the purpose is there. The purpose is real. And when that purpose is there, then motivation can be present. Now, you guys are probably disappointed. You're like, man, I wish it was just one thing. Guys, if it was just one thing, look, there are, on Amazon, before I got on here, I was doing a search on motivation. There are like a billion books telling you the secret of motivation, and all of them have good points. But I have never read a motivation book that didn't distill itself down into one of these 5 points that I'm telling you right now. So I'm trying to save you some money from having to buy all these other books, okay? The third point then is when results from your efforts, motivation is present, when results from your efforts meet or exceed your expectations, believe that they will. Okay, let me say that again. Motivation is present when the results from my actions meet or exceed, okay, my expectations, or you believe that they will. Now, if you think about that, right? So I just got back from my daughter's gymnastics showcase. One of the 18 things I have to do tonight. and one of the things I was watching for with her was her rope climb. My daughter I have to be careful how loud I say this. My daughter's, one of her things she's working on is her upper body strength when it comes to gymnastics. She's 10. And it's been frustrating for her that she hasn't developed in that. And one of the benchmarks for that is to be able to climb this rope from the floor to the ceiling and back down again. And this is probably a 15, 20-foot rope. It's a pretty good sized rope. And there have been days when she would come home and she would be extremely unmotivated to do gymnastics. And I know she likes it. I know she's found joy in it. And so when I asked her about it, it would be, why am I not stronger? I'm working harder. I'm working hard. I go to gymnastics. Why am I not getting stronger? And that's a hard question to answer as a parent, those types of questions, because the answer, you just have to stick to it. You just have to keep going. And so tonight, when I watched her, and I watched her kind of gear herself up for this, and she sat down on the floor, and she keeps her legs at a perfect 90 degrees, and she started climbing and keeping her legs, all upper body strength. Blew my mind. Like, I just can't believe that this daughter came from me, okay? And she starts climbing, and she gets 5 feet off the floor with her legs at a perfect 90-degree angle, just upper body strength, pulling herself off the rope, and then she drops her legs down, and she climbs, and she touches the ceiling and comes back down. And when she hit the floor, she had this look of elation on her face, because I know that's been a challenge for her, and she got to demonstrate in front of everybody those results, okay? Now, what everybody doesn't see in that room, but I know, is the work, the commitment, the wondering, is all these things going to give me the results that I want, Dad? And my thing, look, you just got to stick with it. So motivation sometimes as a coach is when I'm putting in the work and I'm putting in the effort, and my expectation is that I should be earning X amount of money. My expectation is I should get this response from people. My expectation is this, and that doesn't happen, or I don't believe it's going to happen anytime soon. My motivation goes low. So what do? Well, let's be realistic with what our expectations happen to be. There's cycles in business. There's different things that happen to you, because chances are, if this is you, you're like my daughter, where you're ignoring the small victories that are incrementally getting you where you want to go, because you're getting impatient for the result that you want, okay? And so as we control our thoughts, right, as we take back control of that, we think, okay, so am I ignoring the small victories that I'm having? Am I not giving myself credit for those? Am I discounting those pieces? Because the second I start to embrace those, the second I start to celebrate those, the second I start to look for those, you will see motivation increase. That's point 3. Point 4. Motivation comes when you have confidence that the work you need to do will bring the results, okay? Meaning, I have confidence that the things that I'm doing right now are going to yield results. I don't know necessarily when, I don't know how quickly, but I have confidence that the things I'm doing, or most of the things that I'm doing, are going to yield results for me. All right? You see this all the time when you work with challengers. They start their journey and they're going by faith in you, in Beachbody, in people that they've seen, that if they stick to this program and do this work and follow this, they will get the results. And it might take them a little while to get to that, but they have that. The motivation that if I stick to this, it will get results is key for them. So for coaches, sometimes we get in this thing where we feel like that we start to, when things aren't going where we want, we're kind of feeling unmotivated. Internally, what we try to do is think, okay, well, what can I change? What can I control? And so we mistakenly start swinging this pendulum back and forth to try all these crazy new things. And what we end up doing is killing any momentum that we're kind of building for ourselves. I'm not saying you don't have to make tweaks. I'm not saying you don't have to make adjustments. But guys, this business isn't complicated. It's not easy, but it's not complicated. Okay, the path is a well-worn path, meaning as far as the things to be engaged in. Now, does that mean there's not unique tweaks and elements? No, of course, there's always going to be those. And that nibbling around the edges of your business is an important thing to do, but you don't have to try to reinvent the wheel or feel like it's incumbent on you to discover some new process that no one's ever thought of before in order to be successful. Okay, that's a heavy load to carry, and that will extinguish or diminish motivation. Instead, engage in the things that you know that are right and have a confidence that the work will yield the results. Okay? That's point 4. Point 5. Motivation comes when you're tired of being stuck. Okay? Motivation comes when you're just saying, I want to make a difference. I want to make a change. I need to grow. I need to continue growing. Whatever that looks like for you, then motivation starts to come then. It's related to that first point, because when you're feeling stuck at that point, some point, the cost of not doing anything to get unstuck exceeds the cost of the work done to require to make a change. Okay. So those 5 points, the reason why I wanted to hit on those 5 points is chances are when you're feeling stuck, it's one of those 5 things. Maybe not all of them, one of them. Hopefully some of the comments that I've given you will help you get a start on this. The crazy thing about motivation, you guys, is everyone gets motivated in different ways because different things mean different things to different people. And so there's no silver bullet behind it, aside from really honestly identifying those 3 things. What's the purpose behind what you're doing, okay? Do I recognize the cost of inaction versus the cost of actually getting it done? Do I understand what that trade-off is? Am my expectations of the results that I'm getting, are those expectations accurate? Do I have confidence in the work that I'm doing, meaning that the work I'm doing will yield the results that I need to, as long as I keep at it, keep learning and tweaking that? And then am I ready enough to make the sacrifices and the changes necessary to not be stuck? Guys, it will require sacrifice. Change, implicit in change, is sacrifice. But sacrifice is only painful when sacrifice has no meaning. So don't make sacrifice a negative thing. Endow it with meaning. When sacrifice has a purpose, okay, it's much easier to do what you need to do. And the definition I've always heard that I like is sacrifice is the giving up of something good for something better. Giving up maybe some free time, some whatever it happens to be, for something better, okay? And the sacrifice is worth it. Now, for some of you, and I'm only saying this because I'm guessing that Kaylee from time to time will find people similar to herself, okay? And so there's some of you on this call that one of the biggest things about motivation is an element of perfectionism. And perfectionism coming from the desire to be in control. Perfectionism from a desire to say, I can't leave anything else up to chance. I've got to control it all. And when you start acting like that, you start trying to control things that you can't control. That perfectionist tendency kicks in. All you see is errors. You don't see those small victories I was talking about. Your expectations get overinflated because you want to be able to trust yourself. And then when they don't happen, your trust in yourself starts to erode. Self-doubt creeps in. And then all you want to do is run away from it because it hurts. If that's you, I had one of those little reminders, right, that pops up on Facebook of a post that I wrote a year ago. And I was thinking, I was like, I'm just going to read this to you guys tonight because it was me. Okay, one of the reasons why Kaylee and I get along well, because we're the same in this space, okay? And I was going through a real funk where I was just not motivated. I was not engaged. I was just not in a good spot. And I was, okay, this might be a little intimate, but I was sitting in my bathtub one night thinking about this. And I'm pointing right over here because my bathtub's right over here. And I was just sitting there kind of stewing on this and kind of going over my head. And finally, I just was like, wait a minute. What are you doing? Like, I had this moment of clarity. I was like, what are you doing? Why are you indulging in this negative self-talk? You're just self-sabotaging, so you have a reason to rationalize not doing what you know you need to do. You're coming up with every excuse possible so that when you say it to people, they can just agree with you, but you're full of crap. And at the end of the day, I told myself, I was like, and why is that? And I said, it's because I'm a perfectionist. And so then I wrote this little thing for perfectionists. So those of you that this relates to, hopefully this will help you. So I said this. I said, so in the past few months, I found myself in a situation perfectionists tend to find ourselves in. Overwhelmed, paralyzed, afraid, brutally critical of myself. Indeed, as Anne Lamott said, perfectionism is the voice of the oppressor. You see, I've broken several of the perfectionist commandments. These ones I just made up, by the way. They're not really canonized as commandments, but I just made these up on the fly while I was sitting in the bathtub. I've broken several of the perfectionist commandments. My fellow perfectionists, I know you know them well. Number 1, thou shalt not say yes to everything. It's not noble, it's foolish. Number 2, thou shalt remember your divine worth and look beyond the imperfections in what you do and allow yourself to feel joy and peace, to see the progress in the process. I'm sorry. That's hard for me. 3, thou shalt not believe your criticisms of yourself, especially when you apply a moment of frustration onto your entire life's existence. 4, thou shalt focus on one item on your to-do list at a time until completed to a great but not perfect level. 5, thou shalt let the opinions of others remain their property and not internalize them. Don't give away your power of self-definition to anyone or anything. 6, thou shalt allow yourself to have emotions and not run away to a state of numbness and gray. The pain and frustrations of life give the joy much greater brilliance. 7, thou shalt put the most important things first, always, even if the other stuff gets left undone. 8, thou shalt recognize that ideals are not absolutes. 9, thou shalt control the freaking controllable and let the rest go. 10, thou shalt focus on the fact that you're blessed beyond what you merit and give thanks for the hard things in life that mold, shape, and grow you. And then I did a bonus 11. Thou shalt remember that perfection is a lie that chains you down and keeps you from giving you the very best of who you are. Now, those of you who know what I'm talking about, I painted myself into a corner and I was paralyzed. So much coming at me, so afraid of making a mistake, of letting people down, I started shutting down. I started letting the demons of fear and imperfection cause me to withdraw, to collapse on myself. I tried to explain it, but as I heard the words come out of my mouth, I just got frustrated at myself for not being up to the task. Why couldn't I just be better, be stronger? All I saw was people I was letting down. The hole just got deeper and deeper. It seems easier for others. I thought maybe I'm just a fraud. Maybe I'm not as able as I believed I was. Yes, those demons were killing me. It can get so dark so quickly, it's hard to remember what the light looked like. But I'm stronger than that. I know I can do hard things, and that hard work is the great equalizer. I'm pulling myself back up again, one step at a time, and I'm choosing to believe that the best is what I do, not perfection, not being satisfied for mediocre either. It's my choice. I want to be the best I can for my family. I want to be the best I can for my friends. I want to be the best I can for my job. So I choose to be happy, to smile, to try and think of the best of myself before I think the worst, and believe I'm deserving of it. Now, if this doesn't make sense to you, you're probably not a perfectionist, but if it does strike a chord with you, just know that you're not alone and keep on fighting. So recently, I faced that again, right? I had gained a bunch of weight, actually, from travel and all the crazy things, and then the Shift Shop Tips group came around, and they wanted all the sales team in Utah to be a part of it. And I remember my first inclination was like, no. I mean, and the funny thing is, you guys, it wasn't no because I didn't know I needed it. It was no because I was like, man, if I do it and I lose the weight again and then I gain it back again, like, that's horrible. Like, what are the coaches going to say? What are people going to say? And then I had to catch myself again. That perfectionist part of me, that part of me that just lets motivation escape me that way. And I said, no, I'm going to do this. And it's been hard. We're in the middle of the third week right now, and it's those of you that have been a part of it, you've probably seen some posts on it. It's awesome. Chris is an amazing trainer, but the workouts are challenging. And in the first couple weeks, it was hard. And I kept having thoughts like, what did you do? You crazy idiot, like moron. But this week, I felt my body changing. Just this week, you get that first like, hey, you're looking good. Hey, you're losing some weight. And those little things that just kind of let you know that increment. And I have to remind myself that that's not the finish line, right? That we've got to keep going. And guys, at the end of the day, you really are in charge of your motivation. It's not on Kaylee. It's not on your spouse. It's not on someone else. You are the one that controls really if you're going to be motivated or not. So instead of getting on here and giving you like a pump up, rah, 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 go do, be, what my challenge is to you is to review those 5 things I said at the beginning and find in yourself a more lasting source of motivation. Find that, tap into it, and learn how to look for it. Learn how to discover that for yourself. Learn how to control that part of you guys. And I promise you, it'll have a positive impact, not just on your business, but on your life. Okay? So that's it, Kaylee.
That was awesome.
Hopefully it was helpful.
Yeah, I mean, all 5 of those I've hit. So,
Well, we all do from time to time.
4 years in the business, and I've hit them all a couple times.
We all do from time to time. Be nice to yourself. So here's the deal. If you guys, I do have to run my son's baseball game tonight, but if you have any questions or comments or things like that, just message me on Facebook or through Kaylee. Either one's fine. And I'm happy to answer any questions or comment anything if you've got it. I feel bad that I've got to run so quick, but I was grateful for the chance to be here with you guys.
Thank you so much.
Okay. I don't know if you want, I can jump off if you want to keep talking to everybody.
Yeah, I'm just going to ask them some questions if they have.
All right. Well, I'm going to jump off real quick, you guys. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you soon. Okay.
All right.
Bye then. See ya.
So everybody's still on mute. I muted everybody. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? He's pretty awesome, isn't he? Yeah. That's why I go to him when I'm in my perfectionist mood. What's so funny, Jenna? That's great. Jenna with 2 N's thinks that was awesome. He is pretty awesome. He asked me like, what does your team need? I'm like, well, I feel like the whole network needs motivation, but I wanted my team obviously to hear basically what I hear every time I get on the phone with him on a Zoom call, because I don't know about you guys, but every time I talk with him, if you guys felt it this time, but do you feel re-energized and like, oh my gosh, like I want to go do this now. So I was like, I wish I could always carry a little Kim in my pocket and be like just whispering in my ear every day, because then I'd totally be, on the ball. But you now have this recording to come back to. But he's right. You do have to self-check a lot, especially if you are a perfectionist, because that last part that he said where he kind of rambled through the sequence of what happens, which leads to self-doubt, is something that will definitely stifle your motivation. And Jen, you left, like, I guess your phone cut out or something as soon as you started talking about the first thing in the perfectionist list, which was learning to not say yes to everything. I was like, oh, look, Jen just happens to pop off at that time.
My phone just totally like shut down, but it was probably good timing because that is my biggest problem. Hey, I said no like once last week.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. You said yes like 100 more times.
It's probably true.
All right. Well, if nobody has any comments or any questions, we can hop off. Again, he is super awesome. So if you do have a personal question, you can message him. Jenna. So if you want to go through me, you can message me too. So yeah, let me check the chat. Everybody's good. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you next week. I hope that helped you a little bit. Thank you. Bye, guys.